Let's face the facts. The kids in South Park are all horrible as a whole, but a lot of them, like Kyle Broflovsky, Stan Marsh, Kenny McCormick, and so on, have redeeming qualities. The main exception is Eric Theodore Cartman, who would most likely screw over his so-called friends for a cheesy poof. Hey guys, Keyword Mackay writer Nathan here, and today I will be discussing the top 10 reasons why Eric Cartman should be in jail. Starting with, for this one I will be trying Cartman as an adult because he's got the mentality of one. And since South Park is a fictional town in Colorado, I'll be following Colorado laws. Starting with prostitution. In cow days after receiving a severe head injury, Cartman believes that he is a Vietnamese prostitute named Ming Lee. In Colorado, the max sentence for prostitution is 6 months. Number 9, vandalism. For vandalism, there is a lot of examples for this, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's vandalized about like $750 to $1,000 worth of property, which classifies as a Class 1 misdemeanor, and the sentence is 1.5 years in prison. Number 7, enforced suicide. In TMI, Cartman attends anger management therapy when the psychiatrist tries to trigger Cartman by making jabs about his size. But Cartman surprisingly stays calm throughout all this, just texting on a smartphone. He could appear to be the most even-tempered kid here, right? Wrong. Until the psychiatrist gets a phone call from his wife, who is having a mental breakdown because she got a text from Mitch Connor about a police report, infidelity, and her husband having an affair with a 14-year-old girl before she commits suicide by a gunshot. Cartman then puts his phone away and calmly states, "I'm not fat, I'm big-boned." People have been sentenced to 1.5 years in prison for this kind of thing. Number 8, animal abuse. Even though I like to eat meat and one of my favorite video games is Monster Hunter World Iceborne Special Edition, I do not like animal cruelty. Cartman has developed a habit of hitting various animals with a stick and just being generally abusive towards animals. It's not really severe abuse. It'd likely fall under a misdemeanor, which carries a 1.5 year sentence as well as 1 year mandatory parole. Number 7, enforced cannibalism. In Scott Tenorman Must Die, Cartman reveals to have forced Scott into eating the remains of his dead parents in the form of something called Mr. and Mrs. Tenorman chili. Interestingly enough, cannibalism isn't technically against the law in the U.S. except for Idaho, as long as you can somehow eat human meat legally, so this is kinda questionable. Number 6, assault. There are tons of examples of Cartman assaulting people and just being the ever-loving shit and piss out of them, but the one where they'll get him the most prison time would have to be the time in the first act of Coon vs. Coon and Friends when he assaulted Mosquito using finger blades, and in my honest opinion, that counts as an assault with a deadly weapon. Assault with deadly weapons carries a 32-year prison sentence. Number 15, robbery, violation of firearm law, and threatening with a deadly weapon. These three all come from the same thing, from the same episode where Cartman pulls a pistol on Kyle, wanting the little pouch of Jewish gold around his neck, and he did not obtain that gun legally, so he's violating firearm laws, which carries a 1 year sentence, armed with robbery, which carries a 16-year sentence, and threatening with a deadly weapon, which carries a 3-year sentence. Number 5, arson. In Butt Out, Cartman and his friends take up smoking as a means to not becoming actors like an anti-smoking play, and when they're about to be caught by Mr. Mackey, they hide their cigs in the dumpster. However, due to the cigarettes being not put out properly, it causes a fire that burns down the school. Now, normally he did this with Stan, Kyle, and Kenny, but I'm only just going to assume it was just him, and this carries a 12-year prison sentence. Number 4, hate crimes. In Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000, he basically assaulted Tolkien Black with a rock and was sentenced to juvenile hall, but when he tried to escape, he got tried for as an adult and got put in prison. But it was overturned, so he's not guilty, I suppose. Number 4, kidnapping. In Casa Bonita, Kyle decides to have his birthday at the Disneyland of Mexican restaurants, Casa Bonita. He invites he invites Kenny, Stan, and Butters, but not Cartman, due to the fact that Cartman has been known for being an anti-Semitic little asshole. But Cartman says the only way that Cartman can come along. But Kyle says the only way that Cartman can come along is if Butters isn't around. So Cartman falsely imprisons Butters in a bomb shelter, lying to him that the world has ended, and well, Kyle's family finds out, and Cartman actually does get punished, which means he got sentenced to juvenile detention center for a week. What he should have been punished with was 24 years in prison. Number 3, medical terrorism. In the episode Tonsil Trouble, after a botched tonsillectomy results in him being infected with HIV, Kyle actually starts to laugh because he thinks Cartman got his just desserts. However, Cartman decides to infect Kyle with HIV by drawing some of his blood and putting it in Kyle's mouth. There are certain areas where it's illegal to infect someone with HIV, but he's not guilty. Number 2, rape. In Cartman Sucks, Cartman took a photo of him with a picture of him with Butters' junk in his mouth, and he displayed it to the entire class in a PowerPoint presentation. Not only was, since this wasn't taken with Butters, not only is the picture obscene, but since it was taken without Butters' consent, it would be considered without force. Sexual assault without consent, and this carries an 8-year prison sentence, and he'd have to become a registered sex offender. Last but not least, number 1, genocide, an attempted genocide. In the other 2 parts of Coon vs. Coon Friends, Cartman, as a superhero persona, the Coon, teams up with Cthulhu and destroys synagogues, attacks the Burning Man Festival, and reduces San Francisco to ruins, and even kills Justin Bieber. In The Passion of the Jew, Cartman's hatred towards the Jewish causes him to rally together a group of the Passion of the Christ movie fans as a means of starting a new Holocaust and exterminating the Jewish. And then there was also the Ginger Kids, when he decides to massacre all non-redheads. The death penalty may have been abolished in Colorado, but since this is such a severe crime and there is a federal charge and a federal death penalty, so it's possible he could be either executed by hanging, firing squadron, lethal injection, or electric chair. If it were up to me and I was helping write South Park, Cartman would be expelled, his mother Leanne would disown him, Kyle, Stan, and Kenny would file a restraining order against Cartman, and Cartman would likely be tried as an adult and sent to prison permanently. Next time, I will be discussing the top 10 reasons why Francine from American Dad should file for the divorce against Stan Smith. This is Keyblade Makai writer Nathan signing off. Sayonara.